On Britain's streets, a battle is raging. Over 11 million of us rent.
I'm freaking out, I'm terrified.
But thousands fall victim to rogue landlords.
It's just the worst property I've seen.
2 million of us are private landlords.
He's owed almost £10,000 in rent.
But many face financial ruin at the hands of bad tenants.
Supposed to be out by yesterday.
Well, we're still here.
Get your hands up.
Don't push.
I had a nervous breakdown for the first time ever in my life.
I'm not going back on the street, no way.
In this series, we're on the front line with the enforcement officers who crack down on rogue landlords.
There's a lot of scams going on.
This is gross exploitation. It just can't continue.
And the experts, whose job it is to evict bad tenants.
This kind of stump boils my blood.
It can be a little bit scary at times.
Hey! We're called the police! We're called the police!
In this episode, we return to some of our most dramatic stories
It's my property. I want to get it back.
and find out what happened next. A mistake by a London landlord causes a legal nightmare.
You locked me out. Don't worry, we'll meet in court.
An Essex couple
Oh, my God.
battle to evict a tenant who won't go.
I'll never rent again. It's too much hassle.
And a landlord in Northampton
I ain't got no money, mate. I've got no money. I'd pay the guy. If I had money, I'd pay him, mate.
has a standoff with a tenant on the edge.
I have my head, mate. You know what I mean? I could kill somebody. I'm ready to kill somebody. I am.
Council worker Kirk Brown is desperately trying to evict his tenant. For the past 5 years, she's never paid her full rent on time.
Payment was delayed by 2 weeks, then the following month by 3 weeks, and it just escalated from there. She owed over £4,000 at its worst.
Eventually, the stress became too much for Kirk, and he decided to sell the property. He found a buyer and gave his tenant over 2 months' notice to leave.
I told her the date of completion. We decided that we'd help her move, provide transport.
The tenant moved out, and Kirk changed the locks. Then his nightmare began.
I thought it was in my right to change the locks and hand the keys to the new owner.
Kirk had made a fatal error. Rather than give the tenant written notice to leave, they reached a verbal agreement.
When we went there on the day of completion, we tried the keys and the door wouldn't open. But then we realized she was inside the property. In fact, she actually changed the locks again.
Kirk was a very laid-back landlord, and I think that was one of the reasons he made a very big mistake by unlawfully evicting his tenants and changing the locks.
Unfortunately for Kirk, the law was on his tenant's side. When she learned his verbal notice carried no legal weight, she moved back in. 3 months later, Kirk has lost his buyer and his tenant is still here.
This is my property. I need to empty it now. I need it to be vacated so I can fix it up and get it back on the market for what it's worth.
Selling the property with an uncooperative tenant is proving virtually impossible. His only option now is to go to court and force her out.
I'm still not confident in going to court, but all the good things I've done for her, you know, it feels hurt. It's hurt. Hello. How are you?
I'm not fine.
You're not fine? What's the matter?
I'm really sick.
So have you had a letter from the solicitors about court hearing?
Are you just asking me that now? I'm going to the solicitor for in the first place?
Pardon?
You said you sold the house. I said I want details of the new landlord. You refused to give it to me. You locked me out. You refused to show me the new landlord. I have all the text messages with me that you said the house does not belong to you anymore. You don't know anything about the house. That is what you said in your letter.
Because it's
and
sold.
after that, I don't owe you anymore. I've paid them. Even after this month, I've paid this month as well.
The tenant seems to think she has the right to stay in the property even with a new owner. But Kirk is determined to sell his house without his sitting tenant.
Don't worry, we'll meet in court and talk about it.
Yes, yeah, we'll see you in court. She's making all sorts of stories. She's using the excuse that I should have given her the new landlord details, but it's not a new landlord, and she's not taking that in. It's gonna get nasty.
"38-year-old Matt Dorrington is living a landlord's worst nightmare.
Well, I've had the property for over 5 years now. This tenant that's in there at the moment's been there 2 years. Been relatively quiet, haven't really heard much from him.
His tenant, Michael Plain, started falling behind with the rent a year after moving in. Matt, who works in a local military base, is now owed over $2.5 grand in unpaid rent.
I am worried. Obviously, I've got a mortgage to pay on the property, and without the rent coming in, I'm having to fund it myself.
With the tenancy agreement coming to an end, Matt's letting agent served a formal notice asking Michael to leave, but it didn't work.
I was hoping to get in there to refurbish it and get it set up for the next tenant. Unfortunately, not been able to do that.
Matt now has no option but to evict his tenant. Because the property is fully managed, they've never actually met.
It's the first time I've ever had to evict anyone. You know, I feel bad that I've got to evict someone, but if they're not making the payments or anything like that, what can you do? It's sad, really, but that's how it is.
Anxious to get his property back, he's called in Paul Champlina to help him through the process.
If the guy's not working and you know he's not going to pay the rent, generally, with my experience of doing this for a long time, you know it's going to end up most probably going to an eviction.
Matthew,
Hi, Paul.
how are you? Nice to meet you.
There we are.
Paul wants to serve the eviction notice in person.
A doorbell. Is there a doorbell here?
No, doorbell.
Let's see if he looks out the window. I'm going to tell someone. Absolutely reeks. Have a smell. Smell in there. Rancid, isn't it?
It is.
Right, he's not answering. I don't know if he's here. Served.
Paul's job is done for today, but he's not convinced the tenant, Michael, will be leaving anytime soon.
Realistically, 50–60% of the time they don't leave. So let's hope you get your property back sooner rather than later.
Yeah,
but only time will tell who leaves. All right?
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Paul.
Thanks.
Cheers.
Thanks a lot. Take care.
Matt's hoping his tenant will leave within 14 days. If not, he'll have to face a lengthy and costly court process. It's been 9 months since landlord Matt Dorrington asked his troublesome tenant to leave. Despite going to court and gaining a possession order 6 weeks ago, his tenant Michael has refused to move. Today, bailiffs are set to evict him.
I'm not sure how he'll react today when we all turn up with the bailiff and the locksmith.
Matt is meeting eviction specialist Paul Champlina, who's been handling the case from the start.
We're finally here, the day you get your property back.
Yeah, looking forward to it now.
Okay, so we've got the bailiffs coming soon.
The bailiffs aren't due to arrive for another hour, but Paul decides to check on the tenant.
Should we go and see if he's still there?
Yeah, okay.
And if he is still there, find out when he's going to move, basically.
Right.
Okay, let's go. You can actually smell the cat smell from here. There's loads of cat stuff if you look through there. There's a cat in there looking at me. He's clearly in there.
stench.
And ironically, I'm allergic to cats. So I'm going to have fun in there.
Yeah.
Matt tried to be professional as a landlord. He didn't want to be confrontational. In some incidents, you need to be a little bit forthright and actually have some sort of communication with the tenant.
The property is still full of the tenant's belongings. It's not a good sign.
Hello? Hello there. You all right?
I know what you're here.
Yeah, we're here to do the eviction. Are you?
I thought it was 11 o'clock, though.
Yeah, it's 11 o'clock. We're just making sure that you're going to be leaving the property.
I'm going, mate, yeah.
Okay.
Still packing stuff away. So.
Oh, really? You haven't thought about leaving beforehand then?
Yeah,
no?
Well, I had no money to hide out a van, you know.
Right, okay. And what about the rent arrears that you owe?
Oh, I can't. What do you want to do? I'm not in the What do you want? I ain't got no money, mate. I've got no money. I'd pay the guy. If I had money, I'd pay him, mate. Trust me.
Yeah.
Mate, if I had the money, I'd pay you now.
Yeah.
You could pay me what? I'd pay you the money.
No, well, listen, we know you've got financial hardship and we understand that. We get that.
I owe the bank money. I owe council tax money. I owe money here and everywhere.
Yeah.
It just got out of control.
Yeah. I think the problem's been is maybe the lack of communication.
Do you think we could have sorted it out sooner?
What do you want from me? I can't win, mate. I've been as well. You think he'd be?
No, but listen.
I have my head, mate. You know what I mean? I could kill somebody. I'm ready to kill somebody. I am.
Okay.
Kill somebody.
Well, that ain't going to get you anywhere, is it?
But I'm just, you know what I mean? My heart's going. I'm just don't need it. The amount of through, mate.
Yeah.
I just can't stand it anymore. I mean, what do you want from me? Mate,
Okay.
You know?
Go on, you crack on.
Yeah.
You pack the rest of your stuff up. All right, mate? Go on, you crack on. Yeah, all right then, cheers. Bye.
It's taken more than 7 months, but council worker Kirk Brown has finally managed to win an eviction order against his tenant.
The judge granted us possession and ecstatic, fantastic.
"15 days later, Kirk's keen to see if his tenant is finally playing ball.
Well, I'm going around to the property now to check to see if the tenant has vacated it, and I'm hoping that the nightmare is over. Is anybody in? Is anybody in?
With no answer, Kirk decides to call the tenant and find out if she's left.
Good morning. Do you know what today is? Yeah. Yeah, you were given 14 days to vacate the property. But what do you think we've been going through the courts for? Isn't for you to vacate the property. So you haven't really made any effort at all to leave. So why are you waiting until you receive the eviction notice? I'm not going to force myself into the property today, but I'm just saying to you that you should have made enough effort to leave the property without me having to go down the road of getting you evicted. All right. So she hung up. And she's now saying she's not going to leave until she's forcibly put out. And that's just ridiculous.
Kirk has already lost thousands of pounds in legal fees fighting the case. Paying for bailiffs is the last thing he wants. And his legal advisor, Sasha, has even more bad news for him.
The bailiffs are taking on average about 6 weeks to carry out the eviction. So the sooner the bailiff are applied for, obviously the better. So we can have the application sent out today for you.
All right. Thank you. Okay.
You're welcome. Take care, Kirk.
Cheers then. Bye-bye.
By the time the bailiffs physically evict Kirk's tenant, she will have overstayed her welcome by nearly a full year.
When she leaves, probably will be singing and dancing, so watch this space.
Landlord Matt Dorrington is evicting his troublesome tenant Michael. The bailiffs are due to arrive, but Michael is still inside the property.
Obviously, I don't want to upset him at this stage, so try and get him to leave in a sensible manner.
Most frustrating for Matt is that it had to get this far.
It's a shame Mr. Plain didn't communicate with me regards the payments and why he was struggling.
Yeah, the last thing they want to do is communicate with the landlord because they owe you money. They've got nowhere to go, they can't afford the rent, and they will wait until the last day, which is eviction.
It's 11 a.m. and the bailiff arrives.
Morning. The tenant's still in.
Right.
He's coming now.
Hello, mate. I'm
Yeah.
Okay, how you doing?
As they head inside, Matt's in for a shock.
God, it stinks in here.
Rustic smell.
How many cats you got?
So I've got 7.
My eyes were just streaming. I mean, he had so many cats and he had cat poo everywhere and cat wee. It was just, you could not breathe.
I mean, look at the carpet, it's horrendous here. It's absolutely grim. Are you going to pick these sofas up or not? Are you going to tip them or whatever?
Yeah, I'm going to tip them, but I can't do it to the other.
I mean, to be fair, the kitchen and the bathroom are actually not in that bad a condition because you haven't got a carpet and you haven't got sofas in it.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Do you want me to sign the warrant?
Yeah.
Lovely, thank you. Thank you for your help.
With the warrant signed, Matt has officially regained possession of his house. But many of Michael's belongings remain.
And the couches and stuff in the lounge, will you be taking those today?
Not today, I won't, because I can't move them on me, eh? You know, I can only do what I'm doing with the best, you know what I mean?
It's a shame you ain't got no one to help him.
No, it is very sad.
Michael has moved most of his belongings into the garden, where he can collect them at a later date.
Listen, if you're going to rent again...
I'm not going to rent again, mate. There's no way I'm going for this again.
Right.
No chance, no.
I'm just saying, if you are, just communicate with your landlord, that's the key. There's a cat down there, by the way.
Yeah, don't worry about it. I'll come back.
All right, thank you. I'll leave that open.
As Michael sorts through his belongings, Matt and Paul head upstairs.
At least I've got the laminate flooring up here, so I can just get this cleaned without...
Yeah, this is... I mean, condition-wise, it's not too bad up here.
No, it's not, no.
Matt now faces an expensive refurb before he can rent the house out again.
The conclusion is that he spent more time and energy in his cats than he did with looking after himself and paying his bills.
Yeah.
It was a little bit of an afterthought that he owed you the money, really.
Yeah, it was.
Anyway, I'm pleased you got your property back and you got your keys.
Lovely, thank you very
Well
much.
done.
That's
Okay.
great.
Okay.
Thank
Well,
you
look, good
very
luck with the future.
OK, Paul,
Take
thank
care,
you.
Matt. All the best.
Cheers, thank you
Bye,
very much for your
bye-bye.
help. Got the keys now, new set of keys, so I can get into the house. I feel really good.
He may have the keys, but Matt's not holding out much hope for the outstanding rent.
I don't think I'm going to see much of the money that he owes me, to be fair. Certainly not at the moment anyways, but we'll see in due course.
Keen to put this experience behind him, Matt decides to help the tenant move out the rest of his things.
I just wondered if you could perhaps just give me a hand in the lounge just to... Thank you. It's a bit strange trying to help out a tenant that's not paid me, but at the end of the day I'm just grateful to get it out of my way really, so get the house back and move on.
Matt's a decent guy, and he most probably felt sorry for the guy. I felt sorry for the guy, actually, because he clearly had issues, and him helping moving stuff out just showed Matt's character.
I'm sorry it's happened, I am. I never wanted to leave here. I thought I'd be here for a long time, I really did. It hasn't worked out. I'm well pissed off.
I don't particularly feel too great myself, but...
No, I appreciate it. I'll be pissed off if I was you, you know what I mean? I swear to God.
Well, let's get this fridge out then and...
Luckily, Michael has managed to find a flat with a local housing association, so he won't be out on the streets.
I'll just double check, no cats in here either.
No.
OK, yep, I'll leave you to it.
Yeah, all right.
That is Mr. Plain Gold. Thank...
Despite the state of the property and over $5 grand in missing rent, Matt is relieved his ordeal is finally over.
Nightmare over and looking forward now to getting it relet. Hopefully we'll get some people in here that are going to appreciate it a bit better. Move on now and get on with things.
Lorry driver Graham Barnes and his wife Rena are on their way to check on their daughter's old house in Grays, Essex. They've been renting it out on her behalf since 2008.
Current tenant's been there about 5 years now.
First it was fine, she was a lovely tenant, everything was paid. Then this last year, everything's gone wrong.
They're at their wits' end. For the last 11 months, the Barnes have not received their full rent and are owed almost £5,000.
We had phoned quite a few times and she'd just not answered the phone to us. It's 11 months since we last spoke to the tenant.
Graham was very upset about the case, as was Rena. Property was their daughter's, and she was in a very bad financial position.
What do you reckon?
Don't know. It's an absolute mess. Look at that. She's not looked after nothing.
Their daughter and grandson now live in Spain, and the rent from this house was meant to provide her with some much-needed income.
My daughter purchased it nearly 10 years ago. It was basically for a pension. She wanted to live here for a while, but it never worked out, and so she decided to move over to Spain. That's what she always wanted to do. And she's happy now. She's happy in Spain, but she needs the money now to carry on doing what she wants to do. Look after her son. She's a
single parent.
Single parent now, isn't she? She needs all the help she can get, and this doesn't help at all.
This last 11 months, it's been absolute hell and grief. Nothing more to say. She's turned out to be the tenant from hell. Nothing more to say about her. Wrong. Absolutely wrong.
In Essex, Graham and Rena Barnes have had enough of their nightmare tenant and are starting legal proceedings.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it's cold.
Today, the couple and their tenant are due in court. They're hoping to gain a possession order for their daughter's property, but also to win back over £8,000 in lost rent and legal fees. But to make the situation more complicated, the tenant has hit back with a massive counterclaim.
Well, she wanted £20,000 compensation for stubbing her toe.
The tenant is saying that due to the property's disrepair, she injured her toe. But the Barnes believe it's a ruse to get out of paying the rent.
The rent arrears were around £4,000, and the tenant was making a claim, around £15,000, as a personal injury claim. Now, if that claim was successful, the tenant would get money from the landlord. She'd also get to stay in the property.
Waiting for them outside Basildon County Court is their legal advisor, Sasha Charles.
Hello.
Hello.
As you're aware, we're looking to have the defendant's defence and counterclaim struck out today. The best case would be we'd be walking out with a possession order and the tenant's defence and counterclaim struck out. Worst case, the courts wouldn't strike it out and wouldn't grant a possession order.
If it goes our way, possession order, when do we get our key?
Usually order the tenant to leave your property within 14 days. If they don't leave within 14 days, we have to instruct the bailiffs.
By the time we come out of court by 4 o'clock, by 4:05, I would like my keys.
Impatient, aren't you?
I just want to get in there and, as they say, kick ass. Oh.
Less than an hour later, the hearing is over.
I am livid, I'm angry. What else can I say?
It's become clear kicking arse has turned to cutting a deal.
She has turned up, yes. And they hid in a corner, so we didn't know they were there.
In return for their tenant dropping her injury claim, the Barnes have dropped their claim for lost rent. They may have won a possession order, but they've lost over £8,000.
They were adamant that they didn't want to drop their defence and counterclaim unless the landlord was to drop their claim for the rent arrears. And in the end, to ensure a possession order was granted, the landlords had no choice but to drop their claim for rent arrears. So the landlords got possession order, but they're out of pocket by a lot of money.
The Barnes had little choice.
If the landlord didn't drop this, it could have gone on for a very long time. It could have cost thousands of pounds more. And when you look at this particular tenant who doesn't have a great income, doesn't have any assets, the county court judgment's not really of any benefit to the landlord.
So I lose all my money, they owe me, and they get away with it.
Hello, Gemma.
Oh, Gemma, again, all right?
Back at home, they break the news to their daughter in Spain.
What happened was, they don't pay us nothing, and we don't pay them nothing, and they walk away.
It's not the result they hoped, but after almost a year of fighting, everyone's had enough.
Relieved it's over, but I've had to work 3 or 4 jobs here to stay here, and then I've got someone else living off me. Stressful, no sleep, trying to bring up a 7-year-old, trying to keep a roof over my head here. What a atrocious 12 months.
Hey.
I'm going grey.
A deep breath, Gemma, and the stress will go.
Well, I'm sick of it. She's got away with murder, but I need to carry on with my life.
Yeah.
The Barnes family can only hope their tenant moves out in 2 weeks' time. If not, they'll have to call in the bailiffs. Seven weeks have passed since Kirk Brown instructed the bailiffs to remove his tenant from his property. Today's the day they're due to evict her. But this morning, Kirk received a surprise phone call.
She asked me to collect the keys. When I approached her, she just handed me the keys and drove off. There were no words exchanged. That's not working. There's quite a bit of stuff in here. Oh gosh. There's a lot of rubbish she's left in the property. What I'll do, I will have to call her and ask her to come and collect her rubbish. I'm inside the property and there's a lot of stuff you left behind. When are you going to collect them? You don't want them. So why didn't you arrange for them to be disposed of? She hung up.
It looks like Kirk's going to have to sort out his ex-tenant's rubbish himself.
There are clothes in his bag, shoes.
There's also a lot of repairs to do around the house.
The door is off its hinges.
And the place needs a good clean.
Disgusting.
But after almost a year of legal battles, he's not going to let all of this ruin the occasion.
I finally got my property back, along with all the rubbish, but I am happy that I can say now it's mine, she's gone, and she can't say I've locked her out because I've gone the legal route.
Six months have passed since landlord Matt Dorrington evicted his non-paying tenant, Mr. Plain, and his 7 cats. It's been a big job, but finally he has his property back up to scratch.
I never thought that I'd be cleaning up, cat litter and dead birds in the back garden and all that kind of thing. It was a daunting process. So this room here was the second bedroom. This was basically the cat's room. And this was where they went to the toilet, all on the floor down here. And of course the pee then went downstairs and stained all the rooms downstairs as well. So it was a right old state. The smell was absolutely horrendous. Completely stunk in here.
To keep costs down, Matt has done all the renovation work himself. Along with the missing rent and legal fees, he's now down over £8,000. But he's not giving up on getting his money back.
We did get an order from the court that we would have to pay that back within 6 years. I know it's going to be a job trying to get hold of him, track him down for that, but if he's working, then by all means he should be paying some back, even if it's a small amount.
Despite the stress and heavy financial hit, Matt is determined not to give up on being a landlord.
Ideally, I mean, I would love a family to come in here, you know, with 2 or 3 kids and make it a home for themselves and enjoy the property. I'm ready to move on now. Obviously, Mr. Plain can go and do what he's got to do. Good luck to him. But I'm going to move on with my life now and hopefully get this property rented out to professional people that will look after it.
It took Kirk Brown 10 months and £6,000 in lost rent and legal fees to get rid of his troublesome tenant. Now, 10 months later, and after spending £2,000 renovating his property, he has a new tenant installed.
I have to be paying the mortgage, and so I thought, you know, quickly get it rented.
Having suffered financially and emotionally with his previous tenants, Kirk was relieved to rent his property out to someone he knew he could trust, a cousin of an old friend. He was certain this time there'd be no problems.
I thought, surely lightning cannot strike twice.
But for Kirk, lightning has struck again, and all because he decided once again to trust his own judgment instead of properly vetting his new tenant.
This is one of the worst mistakes I've made.
4 months ago, Kirk's new tenant stopped paying the rent. He's now out of pocket again to the tune of £6,000. So once again, he's faced with the prospect of evicting his tenant. And once again, Kirk is being ignored.
They said they're leaving, and it's 2 months now since they've been dragging their feet. I'm really angry at the moment because they're taking my kindness for weakness, really.
Kirk blames his troubles on his friend who recommended his cousin as a reliable tenant.
I have spoken to my friend and said, your cousin is the worst tenant I've had.
For the second time, Kirk faces an expensive court case if his new nightmare occupant refuses to leave.
I can't believe it's happening again, but we'll have to go through the courts again.
Graham and Rena Barnes are on their way to the home they've been renting out on behalf of their daughter, who lives in Spain. Owed over £8,000 in rent and legal fees, 15 days ago they won a possession order. Their tenant has just texted to say she's finally moved out.
It's about time. You know, it's taken near enough a year to get her out, and I think that's enough time.
They're desperate to inspect the property.
It could be fine, but there again, it could be in a right mess. Don't know. It's do or die, isn't it, really? So we go in here, up the door and see what we got. Mattress, the state.
Look at that. Ugh.
Yeah, you don't want to sit on that.
No. Ugh.
No light bulbs in here. There's no power at all. I don't know what she's done.
Oh, Chew! Gone off cheese.
Oh, gosh.
The smell. I'm gonna have to open some windows.
Oh.
Ugh.
What's she done?
She didn't even tell us about this. Oh, my word. Oh, my God.
Things go from bad to worse when they check the garage.
Did she live in the garage?
The tenant has left them a note to explain the mess.
I'm really sorry about I had to leave the stuff in the house. I've ordered a cleaning company to take them, but they never come. Get rid of everything, she says. I'll let go.
She's got a bloody nerve asking us to get rid of it.
This is absolutely disgusting, this is. Kids' toys, clothes,
Yeah, be
bike,
careful.
TV, tumble dryer. No, it's going. I've dumped a lot. Not mucking about here.
Fixing the mess will be a big job.
Yeah. Oh, you're here. Oh, you're
So while Rena sorts out the electricity, Graham and his son get stuck in.
Right, you got it? Give it a good old... That's it. Oh. There you go. I feel scared. This woman's caused so much stress, it's unbelievable. Couldn't even bother to clear the place out.
Yeah, I'm doing okay.
Jane coming back in now.
Hooray!
Jane coming back in now. New keys, new lock, that's it. Anybody for a chip? Oh my God. Oh, look, another chip. I'll never rent again. It's too much hassle. I'm actually warning people not to rent out. This is what happens. It costs a fortune to put it right.
And I've got electric. We have lights. Yes.
Nightmare's finished now, it's gone. It's over, she's out, and I'm happy now. Come on, darling, let's go.
Oh, Graham.
Marvellous.
Down.
Absolutely marvellous.
Graham, Rena and their daughter, Gemma, can finally move on with their lives. It's been 11 months since Graham and Rena evicted their daughter's difficult tenant. Today, they're going back to take a look at the property.
Oh, it's changed a lot.
Tidied up a bit.
Yeah.
In the end, the family lost over £10,000 in missing rent and legal fees, money that Graham and Rena's daughter, Gemma, could ill afford to lose.
She relied on the rent to pay the mortgage.
Yeah, pay the mortgage, pay her bills as well.
It put her through hell because she's a single parent and she lives in Spain and there is no such thing as benefits. If she ever come back to live here, she wouldn't do it again.
But for Graham and Rena, the problems weren't only financial.
We lost money over this.
A hell of a lot of money.
But I think really at the end of the day, it really did stress me out and it was having an effect on my health, I think. You're going to bed of a night thinking, I've got to evict somebody. You're getting up the next morning, the same story, nothing changes. Nothing changed for that whole 9 months.
It's done, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it's over with.
After their 9-month ordeal, the Barnes finally sold their daughter's property.
We got a buyer for it, and as soon as the eviction was done, we tidied it all up, cleaned it and painted it, and she took over. And it's nice, it's just nice to get rid of it, isn't it? Yeah, it's great.
Even though the couple know they'll never get their £10,000 in rent and legal fees back, they're happy to have rid themselves of their daughter's property once and for all.
Well, I'm pleased to see the back of it. I really am.
Yay! I can go home. It's not mine.
Yeah,
no
it's
more.
gone. I wouldn't do it again. I
No.
really wouldn't. No. All gone.
Bye-bye, house.
Yeah.
Don't see you no more.
Oh, it's just
Bye, house. Bye.
It's Groundhog Day for Kirk Brown. For a second time, the amateur landlord is faced with a terrible tenant. He rented his house to a friend of the family, and now he's owed £6,000 in unpaid rent.
That's all gone pear-shaped.
If the tenant doesn't move out, he faces another long and expensive eviction legal process. But today, he has received some hopeful news.
My neighbors called me and told me that there's no dog barking, so hopefully they left.
It appears the tenants have gone, and at first glance it looks like they've left his house in a reasonable condition.
I wasn't expecting it to be this clean and tidy, so I'm surprised.
But upstairs in the bathroom, it's a different matter.
Oh gosh, that's not nice. That's not nice. Stench that's coming from it, it just tells me that, these people are quite nasty. To leave stuff in the toilet, that's really unpleasant.
And at the back of the house, there are more unpleasant surprises.
Oh gosh, no, this is disgusting. That is really disgusting. They've used it as a toilet for the dog, and they use the backyard as the rubbish dump. The bottles, the rubbish, that could easily be put in the bins at the front, and they chose to throw it in the garden. I just can't understand why somebody would do something like this. They've been living here free, and so why spite me on top of that? That's just not on,
Clearing the garden and cleaning and redecorating the house is going to cost Kirk even more money. But incredibly, he hasn't been put off being a landlord.
I just got a feeling third time lucky. So I'm definitely going to put it up again for rent. But I'll be a bit more cautious.